Never Dua for sending the likes so more people can tune in. Share screen. Right. Great awakenings. Thank you for being present. Your gift is a presence. Your presence is a gift to me. Let's see. I don't know how to. I've never tried sharing. That's why I've never tried it. Maybe if I use my. Guess you're supposed to do this before you start, huh? Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Well, let's go ahead and begin. I'm not sure they can hear me. Let's do one little sound check here. Oops. Come on, equipment. Oh, wow. That didn't go well. Wow. Hello. Oh, it's upside down. We designed a phone like this. It's like a visor. Okay. No mask. No, I don't have on a mask. Okay. Check 1, 2. Check. Testing 1, 2. Okay. I think. Yeah. Okay. All righty then. Okay. Uja, Upanapa, Good Rising and Great Awakenings. And welcome to today's presentation of Ancient African Adorations, where we following the Neterian calendar of holy days put out by the Temple of Amun. And this calendar, you can get it at templeofamun.com. And it has the Neterian holy days. It has the deity of the month, the deity of the season. It has the solar lunar calendar and solar eclipses. Equinox and solstices. And I just got the idea to start doing these musical presentations as little mini festivals or workshops where we learn about the different neters that we're supposed to be observing. And since I've been doing this, my life is really developing the type of order that I have dreamt of. And I think the secret ingredient is when I combined it with this calendar, because the Ennead calendar is basically a solar calendar, and this one is a Sirius calendar, and it also has traditional 10-day strengths. I don't say week, I say strength. So it has the 10-day strength, and it has 2 days of rest per strength, which I think is really helping me. I've been using this calendar for like my personal practice, like, housekeeping, winter fast, just different activities for the temple. And then this one I use for, musical offerings. And I think that's like combining set with Neterian and balancing the physical and spiritual. And eventually I will put out a Neterian calendar of holy days with the 3-day strengths that's based on the true motion of the sun with horoscopes. So the horoscopes calendar will have the solar calendar, and lunar calendar, and then we'll have the galactic calendar. The galactic calendar is actually the solstice equinoxes. That's when we line up with the axes of the Milky Way galaxy. And in my calendar, if I can get the information for the app, it'll also have retrogrades. It'll have things that are unique, like that kind of thing. So I really feel like following these 2 calendars is how I'm bringing more order to my life. If that makes sense to you. I don't do well where you say like every Friday at 3:00 you're going to do something. I don't do well under that type of structure, because the 7-day calendar is not, it just doesn't work for me. And since I let go of things that required me to be someplace every 7 days at the same time, and then flow with the actual motion of the sun and the moon and Sirius. That's my theory. So anyway, my name is Arid, aka Tichi. Actually, it's Arid Neter Es Meri Ma'ati, which means she who gives offerings to her tutelary divinity and beloved by the dual goddesses of Ma'at, Set, and Nebuchadnezzar. And when I started really embodying the name that was given to me by Seba Ma, that's also when things really started to take off, because I started focusing on the balance of Aset and Nebuchadnezzar. And, because I was in the temple of Aset, but I really wasn't paying attention to Nebuchadnezzar. And now I'm paying attention to both, and things are going really well. So we have a few comments. No matter. Well, I don't have an audience, so I don't really need to wear a mask, but that's a funny question. Very funny. I do have a mask. I'll bring it out. Make some masks. Okay. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I'm so glad you asked that. And I have some props for you today. So 2 off for that comment. I'm so excited. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the roses. Shanae Moon. I hope I'm saying your name right. Shanae. I guess it could be Cheney, but I like Shanae. Uja. All right. And so this presentation is being brought to you by the Aspiration Temple of Divine Light Healing and Sweet Sounds, and the Light Being Wellness Center. And the views expressed in this presentation are the views of this enchantress and not the views of SEMA Institute, Untitled Chapter, Temple of Aset, spiritual preceptors, or any other members. So even though I am a student of Dr. Ashby and Dr. Ashby's, this is not affiliated with their program. I'm just simply sharing the teachings, wisdom, reflections, and music. And then I will always refer you to go study with them. You can come here for your music, and it's like an introduction to Kemetic University and EgyptianYoga.com. So I just want to get that out there. So today, April 2nd, is the day we honor the joy of the Pauti, the company of the gods and goddesses, also known as the Neteru. Well, actually, the Neteru refers to all the gods and goddesses, and the Pauti are the gods and goddesses of the creation myth. Now, in Greek, you might know this term as the Ennead. Okay, so we're going to begin with our opening prayers, like Shanae. Oh, okay, love it, Shanae. I was right the first time. I think it's Shanae, so it's Shanae. Okay, all right. And if you're asking about these glasses, they're not sunglasses; they're pinhole glasses. And they force your eyes to focus instead of magnifying what you're looking at. And I've been wearing them since 2003. And I know they work because I've been able to sew on the sewing machine. I was able to thread the needle. And 10 years ago, I could do that. So I know that it works. Okay, so now we're going to go to the website. So if you want to follow along with the presentation and get the lyrics and the links to the teachings, go to chia.com/joy-of-pauti. That's Pauti. And if you're on YouTube, I have the link posted there. And then also I'm able to share my screen again finally. Okay, so we're going to start with the opening prayers. And get my candle. I think it's all burned out. Let's see if we can get it going. I don't have the whole altar set up. I can at least try to get a candle lit. Try one more time. I think it's trying to tell me I need to get a candle. There we go. I got one going. All right. Otepti nesunetara anbu upward neptaja se pekedu kakapet sineta adi makedu. Otepti nesunetara anbu upward neptaja se pekedu kakapet sineta adi makedu. Otepti nesunetara anbu upward neptaja se pekedu kakapet sineta adi makedu. Otepti nesunetara anbu upward neptaja se pekedu kakapet sineta adi makedu. Offering this to the Supreme Divinity and to Anpu, prepare the traveling what open a way. Lord of the sacred land, spoken offering is 1,000 beef, complete knowledge, 1 gizzy femaleness. This causes the divine to make one true of speech, and like being a tap. And remember, we make offerings of the 1,000 beef maleness. We're offering up our lower nature, our attachments to physicality and materialism, and then we make the offerings of 1,000 geese femaleness. We're offering up our flightiness, our distractions, our multi-dimensional thinking and negativity, worry, and all that. We offer those things to the Most High, and we also begin our sessions with prayers to Anpu. So now we're going to have Poo. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Remove obstacles and my success in my spiritual practice. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Lead souls in narrow pathways to know the difference between real and unreal. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Bless you in heaven and hell. Days like it's night, golden as a day. Make me watch her by night is by day. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. May I make my eyes firm so that I may stand upon them. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. I wash myself in the water where Poo washed himself, where he was the officer of embalmer and bandager. Oh, Poo, open the ways. Oh, Poo, open the ways. My lips are the lips of Poo. 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 To Poo. Tap. Right now we're gonna have Nebuchadnezzar capital Asar Om. Nebuchadnezzar capital Asar Om represents Nebuchadnezzar, the all-encompassing, all-embracing divinity known by many names, the one who thinks the breath, rules the breath, fill in blanks. And Nebuchadnezzar thought of creation and came forth as Kepler, the creator of the gods and goddesses, and then came forth as Asar, as human form. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, Kepler, sorrow. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, Kepler, sorrow. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, sorrow. Oh, Nebuchadnezzar, Kepler, 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 sorrow. It's time for a sip of hibiscus mint tea from the Nile Valley. We can see that color. Look at that. I want to spill it on my computer. It's deep red. This is actually hibiscus mint. In Kemet, it's known as kakadi. In Mexico, it's known as Jamaica. In Jamaica, it's known as sorrel. And if you ask someone about it, you might get into an argument because Jamaicans will swear that sorrow is not Maida. It's not a business. I don't make that mistake anymore. Okay. Next we have 4 great truths of the challenge. Let me get the translation here. And for those of you wondering why some of these chants have Om people associate with the East Indian culture, but you can actually find the first reference in the Leiden Papyrus, and I'm going to have to write myself a note so I can have it ready next time. The Leiden Papyrus, there's a symbol of Om, and the description is the the unknown name of the divinity or something like that. So sometimes we have Om in our chants. So I'd like to, well, Saber Josh suggested that I recite the translation before for people who are not familiar. So I'm going to recite the translation for the 4 great truths again from the devotional manual of the Town Nectar. Good job. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with the internet. I can see that the signal is kind of weak, and I apologize for that. Yeah, I don't know if it's coming through in the replays, so I better look into this. Thanks for letting me know. I'm going to try switching to another Wi-Fi connection. I don't know how it's going to affect this transmission. I might have to start over, but I'm going to risk it. So just stay on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to work then because it's not happy. Okay, so I apologize for the static. I will, after the transmission, I will look into it. Thank you for letting me know, Emperor. If you can, I'm on TikTok. You can go live there. I don't know why there's a difference. Please, what language was I chanting? This is Medu Neter. It's the indigenous language of Kemetic. It's the language of the hieroglyphs, and it means divine word or sacred word. Neter means divine or divinity, and Medu means word, speech, language. Tua for asking. Uja Darusta. Ubenever. So I'm just about to read the translation for the 4 great truths, which I'm about to recite. Pater Neter, the Supreme Being, is one and alone, and is never manifesting everywhere in all things in the form of what? Gods and goddesses of Pauti. Never means encompassing divinity, the all-inclusive, all-embracing spirit which pervades all and was the ultimate essence of all. This first truth unifies all the expressions of Kemetic religion. I think I'll start with the 4 great truths next time. Then we have Anma'at Swisadi Set Save Men, lack of righteousness brings fetters to the personality, and these fetters lead to ignorance of the divine. When a human being acts in ways contradict the natural order of nature, negative qualities of the mind will develop within that person's personality. These are the afflictions of Set. Set is the natural egoism and selfishness. The afflictions of Set include anger, hatred, greed, lust, jealousy, envy, gluttony, dishonesty, hypocrisy, etc. So, to be free from the fetters of Set, one must be free from the afflictions of Set. They watch you say that food inside your Set. Devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. To liberate it, not freedom to breathe. From the afflictions of Set, one must be devoted to the divine. Being devoted to the divine means living by Ma'at. Ma'at is a way of life that is purifying to the heart and beneficial to society as it promotes virtue and order. Living by Ma'at means practicing Shedi, spiritual practices and disciplines. Uashu means devotion, and the classic pose of adoring the divine is called Dua. standing or sitting with hands upraised, facing outwards towards the image of the divinity. We also use that in a greeting. So we're greeting the divinity and one another. Yes, Happy New Year! Yes, April 1st is the natural New Year. The practice of the Shedi disciplines leads to knowing oneself as divine. This is called being true of speech. Doing Shedi means to study profoundly, to penetrate the mystery, Shatout, and discover the nature of the divine. There have been several practices designed by the sages of ancient Kemet to facilitate the process of self-knowledge. These are the religious Shatout traditions and the Sema, Smai, Tawi, yogic disciplines related to them that augment spiritual practices. All the traditions relate the teaching of the sages by means of myths related to particular gods or goddesses. It is understood that all of these Neteru are related like brothers and sisters, have all emanated from the same source, the same supremely divine parent, who is neither male nor female, but encompasses the totality of the two. And I took the time to read the entire gloss of the Four Great Truths because it definitely lays out an understanding description of the Pauti. And today we're honoring the joy of the Pauti. I was thinking about what that actually means, the joy of the Pauti. And to me, it means the joy of knowing the Pauti, the joy of knowing thyself. All right, so now let's have the musical offering of the Four Great Truths of knowledge. I hope the person who asked about masks is still on because he or she started something. I'm going to start using masks. And good rising, Panda. We say good rising. We don't say good morning because we don't want to mourn the day. If you hear me say good morning, I'm having a really bad day. I've been crying and my eyes are all watery. That's the only time I say good morning. Otherwise, I say good rising. Some people say grand rising. I say great awakenings. And it doesn't just mean the rising of the sun. It means rising of consciousness, rising of awareness. The last enlightenment is the great awakening, like the whole planet, the global awakening. So when you hear me say great awakenings, I'm referring to like the conscious collective rising and awareness and understanding of the Neterian and on the journey to enlightenment. So we don't want today. Good rising. There we go. Fast learner. Say what you say, not who inside you say. Hadishani God and Market. I tell you, whatever I tell you. I know I said, say what you say, not who inside you say. Hadishani God and Market. I tell you, whatever I tell you. Say, come in. Say what you say, not who inside you say. I say you come in my head. I tell you, I will never share and tell you. I'm the odds, say, come in. Say what you say, not who inside you say. I say you come in my head. Hey, that one always just was like so uplifting. It's like, yes, it's the day. All right. So normally I don't do all the opening prayers because I'm trying to save time. But today, since we're dealing with the Pauti, some of the opening chants are for the lectures included in the Pauti. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Tonight? Yeah. Okay. So this might run over. Or you did that one, right? Yeah, sorry, that one. Okay. I guess I need my glasses. Okay. So this offering is from the Temple of Aset, from the scripture of the Temple of Aset, and it's the time when Ra has been called by Aset because she wanted to know his name, she wanted to know his essence, and so he's lying back on the path like, oh, I feel like I have COVID, I'm feverish, I'm no vomiting, I'm nauseous, and all the gods and goddesses are like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? And Aset comes and says, well, I have the antidote. You have to tell me your name. And this is an amazing story. So the first part is Mapu'u, Nemu Nemu. No matter what's going on, remain in the stillness. Second part is when you know Nebuchadnezzar, you know everything. Mapu'u, Nemu Nemu. What's going on? What's going on? Remain stillness. No everything. Know everything. No temperature. Know everything. No temperature. Know everything. We know temperature. Know everything. Oh, I can sing that song for hours and hours. I'm not. Gotta keep on moving. I don't know if you noticed that's a reggae bass line, and the song is recorded on Bandcamp. You know, this is my keyboard stuff. But the band is gonna record it when you come to our shows. We sing it live with the reggae. It's amazing. And happy New Year to you, Darista. That's right. This is the natural New Year. This April 1st is called the Natural New Year. It's my Natural New Year, and it's the first day of the month after the spring equinox. All right. Now we're going to have you. Okay. Again, devotional manual. This is one of the readings for Ushet in the morning. Ushet is devotion. From opening prayer aid from the ancient Kemetic book of coming forth by day. Adorations to Ra, who rises and rising eastern. Homage to Ra, coming forth as capital creator of the gods and goddesses, rising the shining the lighting of the mother, rising the working of the gods and goddesses. Your mother Nut does an act of worship to you with both arms. My west rising receives thee in peace, and Mount embraces thee at double season perennially. And this melody is an adaptation of the one we learned from Sarah and from Uwabwatan. May rest in peace and music and yoga and joy. Long, long existence in eternity. And I forgot to mention the Four Great Truths melody is also an adaptation of the version by Saved by Mom. Lord, I'm in a hurry to kind of take the time. I don't want to rush through this one. Do what I can do in heaven, I can't get paid. On the chance that I'll get you to you, Kepera Kemetic Kake Uben K Pacific Kadiam Sudan Nataru Idinek Mudiam Idini Wonder when the tap I gotta do one more time. Do what I have to, but I've been my catch up. On the desert, okay, see, I'm got put on. But I get money to do. Okay, you've been cakes to do. Got the Amsterdam to do. Getting back, move, I didn't get me. Money when I tap at you, yeah, someone else wishing Happy New Year 2022. Happy Natural New Year. Plus, we had a new moon and a new year and a new beginnings. And just all that awesome energy of the equinox. I'm still vibing from my spring alignment. It is magnificent. All right, I've got to do better about having translations. I know the songs, but I don't want to mess up the translation. Yeah, this is the year of getting organized for me. The year of order in my life. I love it. So this is from the Per Kangaroo, compiled, published, presented by Dr. Ashby Saved by Ma, edited by Dr. Karen Ashby Saved by Ja. And we're instructed to recite from the Kangaroo, studying in sacred texts. Right there. And I just did the first one, Adorations to the Divine in the form of the rising sun, Dua Rakef. And now we have Adorations to the Divine in the form of the moon, Asar. Also, the symbol of Asar, Juti, and Kansu. And then at this temple, it also represents Sasheta. Adorations to Asar, owner for divinity, great personality in the heart of Abdu, king of eternity. Abdu is the city of God, city where the temple of Asar is located. Lord of forever, traveling for eternities, in form raised he, son primary of body of nudity, engendered by the master Lord as of the your red crown, exalted white crowns, prince of gods and goddesses and people. See, I don't think you can see the drum very good, so no. These are beautiful instruments. I can't really see them. It's a nice mini djembe. And this is an adaptation or variation of the song Saved by Ma, We Sing the Temple. I added the other lines, so it's complete. The passage should be recited before the original one, just the first line, the first verse. To us are the burn, Netra, hair of blue, Sutin, hey, there, get up, Sebebi, hey. To us are in my ear, Sade, in cat's flute, Uted, in grip, our past there. To us are Uretai, Harry T, let the ruin back. To us are Universal, to us are Universal, glory to us are, whoever, glory to us are, whoever, glory to us are, whoever, glory to us are, the great God within us. Hey. I forgot to mention that this version of the Dual Asar chant, I add the Pekao by Uabratim May he rest in music. He left us with this beautiful music before his departure. So I've combined the two. Two of my favorite teachers in the world. All right, so those are our opening prayers. Now we're going to move to the first section of this teaching, where I just, go on the internet and what they say about it. So we're going to start with the Wikipedia. I know some people don't like Wikipedia, but I always check in there. It's a good place to begin. Make sure you can still see it over there. Yeah, okay. And I hope now that I changed over to the other Wi-Fi connection, it's a little better. I don't know. I'm really sorry. I'm going to talk to my internet provider because I don't like to use 5G, but I was using it and I was like, new experience. So this is from Wikipedia. And remember, today we're honoring the Neterian holy day called the Joy of the Pauti, the Ennead gods and goddesses. According to the creation story of the Heliopitan priest, the world originally consisted of the primordial waters of pre-creation personified as noon. From it arose a mound on the first occasion. Upon the mound sat the self-begotten god Atum, or Atum Ra, who was equated with the sun god Ra. Atum evolved from noon through self-creation. Atum either spat or masturbated, producing air, personified as Shu, and moisture, personified as Tefnut. I was told he spit Shu and sneezed Tefnut. No, sneezed Tefnut and spit Shu. Because why would he spit air? You just can't really trust what's on some of these sites. But like I say, it's good to know. The siblings Shu and Tefnut mated to produce the earth, personified as Geb, and the nine times personified as Nut. We also have to be careful, this is my comment, to not project human experiences onto the divine netters. Because when some people will read that to be like, ooh, masturbated, ooh, he slept with his sister. No, to root cosmic forces, they're not human beings. Like we're more than human beings. We're light beings having a human experience. These are light beings that are the cosmic forces of nature, of creation. So, I mean, you can say you use air and water to produce the earth and the sky. They don't have to say the siblings mated. You know what I'm saying? They put this like weird description on everything. And I'm a student of Say by Moss. That's what I'm projecting. Well, this is what I learned. This is what I know, feel, and experience. Someone studying from another mystery school would have a different presentation or interpretation. Then it goes on to say, Geb and Nut were the parents of Asar and Aset, and of Set and Nebuchadnezzar, who became couples in turn. Asar and Aset represent fertility and order, while Set and Nebuchadnezzar represent chaos to balance out Set and Nebuchadnezzar. I mean, Asar and Aset. So I disagree with that. Hu, the son of Asar and Aset, is often included in this creation tradition due to the duality of ancient Kemetic myths. I'll say ancient Egyptian myths because this is not Kemetic. This is only one of many creation stories. The Egyptians believed no specific myth was more correct than the other, rather that some combination of myths was correct. This creation story, the Heliopolitan tradition, is one of physiological creation. The other major creation traditions are the Memphite tradition and the Hermopolitan. Didn't I just say this was the Heliopolitan tradition? So they've got things a little mixed up. Luckily, we're going to jump in with Dr. Ashby really soon. We're not going to waste a lot of time on this. The next site I checked out is ancientegyptonline.co.uk/Ennead. The ancient Kemetic, well, I'll say Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians had many gods, but some were closely connected to each other in groupings known as pesajets and associated with defined locations. The pyramid text from the Old Kingdom referred to a number of groups of gods, of which the great Pesjet is now known to us as the Ennead. I think Pesjet is another term for Pauti, but I'd have to check on that. The Ennead, derived from the Greek word for 9, are the 9 ancient Kemetic gods and gods associated with the creation myths of Heliopolis, Iunu, and Lower Egypt. He goes on to say, okay, so that's all we're going to get from the World Wide Web, because I'm not really into them. I'd like to know what they say. All right, so now I'm going to present my first chant for the Pauti. Well, not mine, the first one that came through me. And I've never played it on the harp before. I usually just chant it. So if it doesn't work, I'll switch to the system of the drum. I first wrote this song on the piano, so I'm trying it on the harp right now. Patep. Right. I like the way that ended up. This is like a songwriting journey for me. So I'm literally pulling the notes from the ethers. And like I used to play that on the piano. So I like the way that one came out. So that was the procession of the Pauti Neteru, the Pauti processional. Not procession. Procession, not procession. All right. So many of the references I found online refer to the power of 369 or 9 because the Greek word for 9 is the Ennead. But later on, we will see that the Kemetic name is Pauti, and these Pauti are the tree of life. People associate the tree of life with the Hebrew tradition. However, it existed in Kemet long before the Hebrews. And so according to say by Ma, it's 10. It's the power of 10. So we're going to look into that a little later. So now let's have some readings from the Persian root, according to say by Ma. So I think I can switch my screen sharing. We're here. She yard to change this one and I'll stop screen. Share screen. Dun, dun, dun. Window. Action. Okay. There we go. So for those of you watching on TikTok, if you want to check out the teachings, you can go to the website /joy-of-pauti. That's Pauti. So on this page, on page 61, we have the study of the Kemetic word Pa. And he's got hieroglyph and then the meaning. So Pa is demonstrative. It means this or to exist. Pau, P-A-U, primeval divinity, the existing one. P-A-U-T, Paut, primeval time, remote ages, beginning time. And Paut, stuff, matter, substance, components, which make something up. And then Pauti, P-A-U-T-I. I've also seen it P-A-U-T-T-I. The primeval God, the primeval divinity who is self-created, dual form, relates to rulership of upper and lower Kemet. Pauti U, primeval divinity with male or female determinative, source of all multiplicity in creation. And we have Paut in Neteru or Pat in Neteru, company of the gods and goddesses. Pauti, company of the 9 gods, goddesses of creation. And then there's another term, P-A-U or P-A-U-T, means human beings, men and women. So you can see there's lots of difference in the meaning of Pauti, the name of the 9 gods of creation, the Ennead, or Ennead, which simply means 9. Sabine goes on to say the ancient Kemetic words and related to the company of gods and goddesses, the Pauti, indicates several important mystical teachings. The root of the ancient Kemetic word Paut is Pa, to exist, means to exist. Thus, creation is endowed with the quality of existence as opposed to non-existence. Pau is the next progression in the word. It means the primeval divinity, the source of creation. Paut is the next evolution of the word, meaning primeval time, and the next progression in the word. It means the primeval divinity, the source of creation. Paut is the next evolution of the word. Pau meaning primeval time, and the very substance out of which everything is created is the one and the same. Pauti the next expression and has two major meanings. It refers to the primeval divinity or divine self, and also refers in plural and also gender specific. This is just basically him summarizing the chart. So it goes pa, pau, pout, pouty, poutiu, pout, and poutet. Therefore, the most important teaching relating to the nature of creation is being given here. The gods and goddesses of creation are not separate principles or entities. They are in reality one and the same as the primeval divinity. They are expressions of that divine self. However, they are not transformations of or evolutions from the divine self, but the very same divine self expressing as creation. Even divine is referred to as a primordial divinity who did something a long time ago or set into motion various things. In reality, God and creation are one and the same. Ra is the god of the primeval time, as well as the gods and goddesses of creation, which sustain it all the time. With this understanding, it is clear to see that God is not distant and aloof, observing creation from afar. The divine self is the very basis of creation and is in every part of it at all times. This is why the terms Pa, Neter, and Neteru are also used to describe the divine. Pa, Neter means the supreme being, and Neter means gods and goddesses. Also, the word Neteru refers to creation itself. So Neteru emanates from the Neter. Creation is nothing but God who has assumed various forms or Neteru: trees, cake, bread, human beings, metal, air, fire, water, animals, planets, space, electricity, etc. This is a profound teaching which should be reflected upon constantly so that the mind may become enlightened to its deeper meaning and thereby discover the divinity in nature. Which leads me to my next statement is the word nature comes from Neter. And also, in this tradition, Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. And I just did this. Okay, well, I'm not going to do that now. So I'm very sorry for you on YouTube not allow me to share my screen anymore. It's because the signal is so weak. So please just go to chia.com/joy-of-pauti to follow along with me. So in this tradition, anytime you feel an affinity towards a particular god or goddess, and you'll know it's just a feeling you have. It's not like someone comes to you and says, your titular divinity is da-da-da-da. You know. You just know. And when you make offerings to that divinity, since that divinity is the supreme being, you are in fact worshiping the supreme being. It's very hard to visualize or identify with Nebuchadnezzar because Nebuchadnezzar is everything. So this tradition allows, like I have the example, this is the sun, and then we have the rays of the sun. This allows you to resonate or align with every ray if you want, or you could just choose one ray. I am the type of being that has altars all over my house, and I have maybe 15 rays that I make offerings to. Not every day. I have a schedule, like because of these calendars now I have an actual schedule. So that is very profound. Like I don't even know if I need to say anything else about that. It's very profound. At least to me it is. All right. Let's go back to this. 62. I think I read 62. There's a lot I could say about it or read about it, but I'm not going to. I encourage you to check out the book. This is the introduction of the Purdom Haru. It's taken from the introduction of the version of Purdom Haru. Page 69. Okay, this is a compendium of the Asarian resurrection myth, the creation myth. The process of creation is explained in the form of a cosmological system for better understanding. Cosmology is a branch of philosophy dealing with the origin, processes, and structure of the universe. Cosmogony is the astrophysical study of the creation and evolution of the universe. I have to take a break here. This is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we have the most famous astrophysicist in the world who is an atheist. Both of these disciplines are inherent facets of Kemetic philosophy through the main religious systems or companies of the gods and goddesses. A company of gods and goddesses is a group of deities which symbolize a particular cosmic force or principle which emanates from the all-encompassing supreme being from which they have emerged. Self or supreme being manifests creation through the properties and principles represented by the Pauti company of gods and goddesses, cosmic laws of nature, or cosmic rays. Each one represents a ray of temperature. The system or company of gods and goddesses of Anu is regarded as the oldest and forms the basis of the Asarian Trinity. It is expressed in the diagram below, and it's basically the tree of life. We'll just say two things here. Heteru, Jehuti, and Ma'at were the first Neteru created, and everything, all the other Neteru contain or are based on these principles: Heteru, beauty, Jehuti, intelligence, Ma'at, order, righteousness, boundaries, etc. And then the the celestial grandparents were created: Shu, Tapnu, Kepnu, etc. And then also Anpu, who is the son of Asar and Nebuchadnezzar, is not included in the Pauti. Peru is, but not Anpu. However, if it weren't for Anpu, Aset would not have been able to find Asar after he had been killed. It's like so intertwined. It is a cosmic divine drama. And then we have to remember not to project our human values onto this myth, because these are not just people, they're forces of nature, and they interact. Just like when you do chemistry, you mix, copper and gold. You don't say, and copper and gold had sex and produced da 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 da. No, they just combined. Chemistry, chemet is the tree of life. Chemistry. Actually, chemistry is the Kemetic tree of life. There we go. Okay. All right, so now it's going to tell me that the word Pasejet is the Kemetic word of Ennead. I wonder if it means 9. So it has basically a diagram of the tree of life. The diagram above shows that the Pasejet, the Ennead, or the greater principles which are embodied in the primordial gods and goddesses of creation, emanated from the supreme being. Ra, also referred to as Ra-Tim or Ra-Atum or Atum-Ra, arose out of the new, the primeval waters, hidden essence, and began sailing the boat of millions of years, which included the company of gods and goddesses. On his boat emerged the Neters, or cosmic principles of creation, the Neteru of the Ennead, arising from Ra-Atum, are Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Sar, Aset, Nebuchadnezzar, and Heru-Ur. Heteru, Jehudi, and Ma'at represent attributes of the supreme being and the very stuff. That's what I was trying to say. Heteru and Ma'at are the substratum which makes up the creation. Shu, Tefnut. Also, we hear that Nun is substratum of creation. Shu, Tefnut, Geb, Nut, Asar, Aset, Set, and Nehet represent the principles upon which creation manifests. Anpu is not part of the Ennead. He represents the feature of intellectual discrimination in the Asarian myth. Well, I guess I know this teaching is better than I thought to say. Sailing signifies the beginning of motion in creation. Motion implies that events occur in the realm of time and space. Thus, the phenomenal universe comes into existence as a mass of moving of the elements. Prior to this motion, there was the primeval state of being without any form, without existence in time and space. A tap. All right, it's so powerful. So then Sabai goes on to describe the Enneads. We're not going to do that right now. Page 80. And again, this is a reading from the Pert M. Heru. Sabai calls it the Kemetic Bible. Sabai says it's not the Kemetic Bible because it has instructions on how to attain enlightenment in this lifetime. Page 80. Yeah, this one can go a little over. Oh, yeah. Okay, when there's so much information on this page, okay, this has to do with the a little bit of the numerology. Okay. The second important idea derived from the Pauti, company of gods and goddesses, is that they represent a whole number, 10. Ra plus the 9 gods and goddesses, and thus conveys the idea of a special symmetry. So the Greek, Egyptian Ennead only has 9. However, they leave out Ra. And isn't that what makes Ra cry? Ra knew we would forget him, and this made him cry. We are all born from his tears of sadness. People all over the world were created by Ra's tears. When we remember Ra, he cries tears of gladness. We are children of Ra, children of creation. Ra is the source of life, and we are his children. Un Mesu Ra, Mesu Kepara, Ra Agura, Un Mesu Ra. That was spontaneous. I forgot to add that to my list of songs for today. I have not played that on the harp. That's a regular. You can find it on my Bandcamp page. I'm going to record it with the band. Anyway, so that explains the discrepancy between 9 and 10. So this conveys the idea of special symmetry. The iconography has been likened to that of a tree, and indeed comparisons have been made to Kabbalistic tree of life, as the study of the Kemetic gods and goddesses reveals the subtlety of wisdom, which leads to the discovery of the divine self as symbolized by Ra. The Kemetic tree, like the tree mentioned in the Hindu Bhagavad Gita, has its roots above in the heavens with the Supreme Being, and its branches below in the phenomenal universe with the gods and goddesses. Okay, well, I'm not going to read the whole book. I actually have a song called Tree of Life, which is based on the Hebrew Tree of Life. So now I'm going to have a Kemetic Tree of Life song. Okay, and then we go to the book Tree of Life by Ma, and it might duplicate some of this information. So let's just see. And that's one comment people have about Saved by Ma's books, is that the introduction to the Untitled Chapter, which is like a book in itself, he includes it in all of his books because he says, someone just happens to be somewhere and they buy a book, or they're online and they just buy a book and they don't start with Egyptian Yoga Volume 1, then they'll miss the introduction to the practice. So that's why if you buy several Saved by Ma's books, you'll skip like the first 80 pages because you've already read the introduction. However, it's good to reread the introduction. But I was just saying that this information can be duplicated from what I read from the introduction of Persian Maru. Okay. To talk specifically about the life. Okay. Okay, the Tree of Life of Anunian theurgy is an arrangement of gods and goddesses of the Neterian who are connected, and their connections, that which binds them. That's, you have the Tree of Life, and they have relationships, and allows their principles to be understood in a holistic manner by extending from one to the others in order to encompass them all from the heavens to the earth. Question: what is the purpose of the Neteru? The Neter, or the single supreme being, emanates cosmic forces, like I said, the sun, symbolized by the sun and different rays of the sun. These cosmic forces are called Neteru, or gods and goddesses. So from the supreme divinity come gods and goddesses, and those gods and goddesses are given a specific task. They are cosmic forces that have different vibrations, different manifestations in time and space. They also have particular colors and ways of feeling. For more insights into the Neteru, see the following diagrams. And this is the diagram of the Tree of Life, the Pauti company of the Untitled theology. And this is, yes, pretty much the same information, but that there was something else. So in order to successfully complete the journey, everyone needs to evolve spiritually. So the characters of the myth of creation and the various forms of interaction with each other are in reality an elaborate mystic code, page 98, relating to the areas of human conscience which need to be developed in order to grow spiritually. The first, see, that's the difference between this practice and other practices is other practices, they'll teach you the ritual, they'll teach you the myth, they'll teach you the history, and then that's it. You got your devotion, your chants, meditation. However, this practice, Shatau Nectar, this is not, Satan did not invent Shatau Nectar. It's already laid out. He's just presenting it to us. He translated it and, he's sharing it with us. This has instructions on how to become enlightened. Not, in my future life I'll be enlightened, or someday I'll be enlightened. If you follow the steps, you will attain enlightenment. And if you really do a good job, you can attain enlightenment in this lifetime. You can attain enlightenment in every moment. It's a choice. The first thing that we notice when the divinities of the ancient Egyptian creation based on the teachings of Anu are placed in a hierarchical fashion based on their order of creation by Ra and their mythic significance is that they are arranged in accordance with their level of cosmological density and psychic relevance. You will never hear NDT talk like this. All right? Never. Density here refers to their order of their subtlety as the elements composing the creation. Ra is the first principle which emerges out of the primeval waters. He is the subtlest singular principle of creation, the focus of oneness as individual divine conscious in time and space. The ocean itself transcends time and space and is beyond existence and non-existence. Ra is the first principle to emerge out of the undifferentiated essence, and his emergence signifies the beginning of existence. I got the feeling, just from reading this, the reason the Greek Ennead only has 9 deities and not Ra is because they are ignorant of the fact that Ra is not the all-encompassing divinity. Ra is, what is it, call it? I can't think of the word. It's a stand-in, or it's a symbol, or it's like you have a puppet president. Ra is the puppet of Nebuchadnezzar. Ra is not Nebuchadnezzar. Ra works for Nebuchadnezzar. Ra works for Nebuchadnezzar. And I think that is where the Egyptian culture is distinct from the Kemetic tradition, because Nebuchadnezzar is the source. Ra is not the source. Ra is the symbol of the source. Like the sun is not the creator of the Milky Way galaxy. The sun is in the Milky Way galaxy. There, that's it right there. The sun is not the creator of the universe. And in this Western society, the West interpretation, the Greek interpretation of the Kemetic tradition gives you a different impression, in my opinion. Okay. Okay, that's right. Looking through this. Wow. Okay. Now I gotta make a decision. Okay, yeah, page 108. I have to do this. All right, page 108. Getting lost here. Page 108. Okay, so another wonderful practice of this tradition is the Sima Paut Tev Neteru. It has the word pout, right? Sima Paut. Tep Sima Paut Neteru is the movement of the company of the goddesses. Now, Skilama found references in the scriptures and the inscribings of different yoga postures. And when he translated hieroglyphs, he put together a yoga posture system. And his research proves or demonstrates that, well, we know that Asar traveled to India and spread the culture there and all over the world, according to this tradition. And so he also took the Neterian practice and that yoga. When we say yoga, that's the word sema. Yoga means union. Sema Institute, Sema Taui, Smai Taui is the union of the upper and lower Kemet, upper and lower consciousness. That's what yoga really is. It's a union. It doesn't just mean the postures. You do the postures and then you can attain union. But the postures is not yoga. Yoga has so many 8 branches in the Hindu tradition and the Egyptian tradition. Is 4. Yoga isn't, the postures isn't even included in the yoga. You do yoga to prepare for meditation, or you can make this posture system your entire practice, because you go through the movement, the journey of the gods and goddesses. You assume the posture of Nebuchadnezzar before creation, at the moment of creation. Then you assume the posture of the different Neterian gods and goddesses, forces of creation. You go through all of them, and then you end up with Kemetic giving birth to a new day. It's very powerful, and I'm very excited to announce it. Probably in 2022, maybe 2023, I will start teaching a rendition of the Tafsir about Neterian, and it's called Ennead, which is like being wellness. So that's just a little commentary. And I'm getting excited talking about the joy of the Pauti. I'm like really enjoying this. My energy's higher. I was really sleepy earlier, and I'm very energetic right now, and I'm feeling joy. So I'm not going to have time to read from this. I just wanted to point out that lesson 4 from the Kemetic Tree of Life by Sebai Ma is the cycle spiritual journey. Get all word there. The cycle spiritual journey through the principles of creation. And this is what he explains how this is what gave birth to him establishing the Tafsir Paut Neterian yoga posture system. And if you get an opportunity to be certified in that will be amazing for you and all of the future students. This form of yoga is different from Kemetic yoga skills by Yasir Rahatep, based in Chicago. He and Sebai studied with Pablo Imani, Afro Yoga, AFRAKAN, and Yasir's Kemetic yoga skills is strictly, the Hindu yoga version, but with the Kemetic postures. He does not go into spirituality at all. Sebai Ma goes completely into the spirituality. The yoga posture system is an aspect of the spiritual system. So that's the difference between the two. Sebai Ma's program is called Egyptian yoga. When he did his, people didn't know about Kemet, so he called it Egyptian yoga. And then later on, Sebai did so much work in Egyptian yoga, more people knew about Kemet. And then Yasir was able to name his Kemetic yoga. This is an aside. It's not the most. It's just the truth. I would say it that way. Kemetic yoga, the term Kemetic yoga has been copyrighted, and all of us practitioners at Egyptian yoga are not allowed to call it Kemetic yoga anymore. Otherwise, we can be fined. I don't see how anyone can copyright the term Kemetic yoga. So I'm not going to say anything else about that, but I think you get the feeling of that I'm trying to say here. So I say yoga from Kemet or ancient African Egyptian yoga. Sometimes I still say Kemetic yoga because it just slips out because it is Kemetic yoga. However, in the future, when I talk about it, it will be Akus and light being wellness. Movement. What is it? Yoga movement, yoga meditative movement experience. That's what mine is going to be called. Okay, so chapter 4, lesson 4 of the Kemetic Tree of Life is a great introduction to this yoga system, the movement of creating the concept of Pauti, because I'm not going to have time to read from this. if you get the opportunity, please get this book. Check it out. He breaks down all the Neterian. In fact, this is probably what the foundation for the Akus and Ennead program is going to be, because the first half of the class is going to be studying the Neterian, because how can you do this posture system if you don't have a foundation in the Neters? So look forward to that. I look forward to that. I hope you do. And then I'm not going to read this, but page 118. So this is the Kemetic Tree of Life by Dr. Mwada Ashby. Page 118. This talks about the movement of dissolution, the spiritual journey to enlightenment based on the Pauti. So after you go through all of this movement, at the end of creation, everything's going to dissolve back into the noon. And once you can dissolve back into the noon, then you are enlightened. Oh, now this is good. I'm going to read this real quickly. Noon, discovering the absolute and transcendental essence, which is beyond given the singularity of consciousness, beyond time and space, the opposites of creation, Shutef, Nut, Geb, Nut, as well as the concepts of existence, of non-existence. That's number 10. Number 9, Ratim, discovering the single essence, which underlies the multiplicity of nature, cosmic consciousness. Number 8, Shutef, Nut, discovering the more subtle aspects of nature. 7, Geb, Nut, discovering the gross aspects of nature. 6, Hetzeru, Huti, Ma'at, spiritual strength, right reasoning, righteous action. And these higher spiritual qualities allow a spiritual aspirant to discover the mysteries of nature, to pierce the veil of illusion, which prevents the discovery of the underlying essence of nature, creation, God. 5, Heru, advanced spiritual aspiration, having developed spiritual qualities such as purity, truthfulness, honesty, etc., to pursue a spiritual life which will lead to success in life, as well as spiritual enlightenment, self-discovery. Asar Aset, 4, glimpses of the transcendental divine glory and initiation into the teachings of mystical wisdom. 3, Anpu, intellect, understanding that the world is perishable, that there is something else which is abiding. So understanding the real meaning of life, the real goal of life, to attain enlightenment, understanding what is real from what is unreal, truth from untruth. 2, Asar Nevet, devotion to the divine, faith in the existence of the divine self, and then the idea that enlightenment is a real possibility. Set, number 1, the lowest of all, sublimation of the ego and the lower self-control over the sex drive and the negative qualities such as anger, hatred, greed, covetousness, etc. Awesome summary. So now we're going to return to music. Wow. Okay, I hope you can stick with me. I'm going to go till 9:30. Page 125. Page 125, we find the scripture for today. Which is the examination of the creation from the original papyrus text written by the Neterian priesthood. This is the foundation of the teaching of the Kemetic Tree of Life, which comes from the Union creation myth. The name of this book is the Book of Knowing the Forms of Ra. I'm going to read the translation first and then offer the devotion. This is the book. The Book of Knowing the Creations of Ra is a copy. So this is Seba Ma's translation, because the other one is Book the Knowing Forms of Ra. The Book of Knowing the Creations of Ra is a cosmological mystic scripture. If it were to be compared to a biblical type scripture, this would be Genesis section. Portion below is part of the section that contains the segments that talks about the nature of creation and the emergence of the gods and goddesses. So the first line is Book the Knowing Forms of Ra. Line 36, God comes in the form of plants. Line 37. I have trouble saying the word God sometimes. If you hesitate, I'll say the Neter. No, I'll say Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is also in the form of animals, and in fact, everything that is created. 38. I'll say God is here. God gives Shu and Tef Nut, and Nut gives birth. 39. Geb Nut give birth to Asar Heru, foremost seer, blind, Set, and Aset. 40. Nebuchadnezzar from the body of Nut, one after the other, through the births of these gods and goddesses. 41. A multiplicity of forms, those on earth come into being. Okay, so now we're going to have the musical rendition of this scripture. And I just typed these words on a piece of paper. I've not really looked at them. I don't know anything about them. That's so fun. I just love them. Shot into I think that melody is too. I need to find a simpler one. ZFT, David, Capri, David Johnson. Messuin, Untitled, Chapter, Tenanu. Messuin, Capru, the sun. Herkit on Mars, said I said never. Im Katua, Im Sawa. Im said, Messu said, I shot to send him top. Shot it here. Keparudura. Per ina imoabu. Jackie Nebe, Capri Nebe Thompson. Messu im Shudia. Tep Nutenanu. Messu in Cap Nutasan. Kintan man said I said everything. Im Kaju Asawa. Im Sin Messu Sanu. I shot to send him top. Never. Another wonderful song born through this music series. So wonderful. Okay, I'm going to go a little longer because I also wanted to offer individual chants for the nectars, and I already did Anpu, did Ra, did Asar, and I did Dua Ra again for the children of Ra. So I have your page 1. Let's see what's that. The purpose of life. I think that's important to know. Okay. So this is Sabai's discourse. What would be the purpose of life if you are born just to face the insecurities and anxieties of growing up, to go through the toil of raising children, suffer the ravages of old age and disease, love some people, hate others, desire objects of the world, and be forced to run around competing with other people just to get pleasures and accumulate objects only to give them up at the time of death? Does that make any sense? The answer is that there would be no real purpose to that kind of life. The wisdom that comes from the study of the gods and goddesses gives life meaning, but even more than that, it provides insight into a means to experience the meaning. So this is not just an intellectual exercise that leads nowhere or a psychological delusion such as is experienced in faith-based religions. In the center of the Ennead cosmicano-mythograph, it has a great obelisk and the 10 Neteru, or gods and goddesses of the Ennead theurgy. And they are called a Paut or Pauti. Pauti means company of gods and goddesses. And of course, as you know, that is from a religious perspective. We call them gods and goddesses. From a metaphysical perspective, mystical perspective, we call them principles, cosmic forces. And as you enter into these studies, we get into the esoteric aspect of Ennead theurgy, and Neterianism in general. Neterianism is the religion of ancient ancient Egypt. I say Neterianism is the spiritual lifestyle of ancient Kemet, because I don't go for religion. Uja, I can go live with you, but I cannot hear you. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not playing in the game. This is like my devotional offerings. If it was the pendulum session, I would play, but this is my spiritual practice. All right, so that is here we go. We talked in earlier classes about how to worship the divinities, how to master these principles, emulating them, purifying yourself through Ma'at, allowing yourself to embody these principles, acting with these principles in your day-to-day life. These are your cosmic ancestors, cosmic forces, divine principles of creation. They're not just, iconographies on the walls that you can wear t-shirts and you say, oh, I got a art tattoo. And then you go to church and you go eat meat and you just do things that are not in alignment with this tradition. Not judging, I'm just speaking facts. Okay. We talked about the conception that there are two forms of worship. Ushet or Washu is the term for worship. You worship divinities with the elements that are related to the divinities, and elements are related to us in the scriptures, as well as the myths, stories, divinities, the iconographies, the hieroglyphic text related to them, symbolism of their very appearance, the interrelationships mythically gives us insight. Okay, I'm not going to read all that. This is from the book, The Kemetic Life by Seva Ma, Dr. Mona Ashby. The purpose of life. Okay, so now to close up program, I'm going to offer some hekau for the other deities in the Pauti. I think I can do this. So this one is it's a chant for protection. The goddesses I found for protection. When I chant, I visualize the goddess knitting or weaving a protective veil around me. That's what I do. And I visualize these cords or threads of love and protection just all around me. And I also visualize when I chant or sing the words of my intentions, that they also send out streams of consciousness and vibrations that bring about the manifestations. Nit is the goddess that weaves creation. So with our words, they say it's spells because we're spelling. We're making spells when we're speaking all the time. We just aren't aware of it. And so that's what I visualize with this chant. So this one is for Net, Nut, Bastet, Tef, Nut, Rin, and Net. So it has Nut and Tef, Nut. Net, Nut, Bastet, Tef, Nut, Rin, and Net. 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 As you can tell, I really enjoyed that one, and I could just chant that for hours. And one thing about Temple of Asmatisi Temple, all the chanting and all the music and all the word sound power that comes through me It doesn't end when the song ends. It doesn't end when this transmission ends. It doesn't end when you log out of your computer, because this is weaving protection and all this abundance for you as well. When I present my intentions, affirmations, assumptions, sekal, prayers, they continue, they reverberate through the universe. They never end. They just keep growing, growing, glowing, getting stronger and stronger. So even though I stopped playing that song, you can still hear it in your mind, right? And then later on, you might hear it again. It's there. Like, this live stream video, the one on YouTube, when it ends, it's going to stay on YouTube forever. And anytime anybody comes to it, they can pick up on these vibes. And even though you or I may never watch the replay, it's there. And it's maybe every time somebody watches it, we get a little boost. So that's the vibrations of Asmati Temple. That's how we roll. Okay. And so this is the next one. This is one that I offer when I'm about to do my self-care sound healing. Because if you know, I use the tuning forks that are tuned to the different planets. And those are the Greek names. So what do we do here at Kemetic? We take it back to the Kemetic archetypes. So each tuning fork that you see me work with, or each chime, want to do cosmic chimes and chanting, represents a netter. I don't know if you ever heard that before, but that's what's going on. So when I'm playing them, I'm invoking them and activating them, inviting them in, waking them up inside of me and in you. So this is the hekau that I offer when I'm about to do my self-care, and I have an image of Nut, the sky, and Geb, the earth, and then Shu is the atmosphere, the air that Ra asked Shu to separate Nut and Geb so that the creation could come into being, because they were in a perpetual embrace. And it's like, hey, we need the day. We need water. You can't just like lay around all day. Remember not to project values onto the netters, but it is kind of fun to visualize. Well, not visualize, but the concept. I think I've crossed the line here. So anyway, this is Dua Nut. This is the sky. Her body is covered in stars. Geb, the earth. And Sabai pointed out to us, it's not just planet Earth. Like if you go to Mars, there's stuff there, Earth. It's just called Mars. But Geb is there too. Geb is everywhere there is stuff, like material, physical stuff. Not fire, not water, but the stuff, everything. Nun is the stuff that everything is made of. And Geb is the stuff that physical things are made of. Ptah is the physical manifestation of these things. I just really love, I guess because I'm a physicist at heart, an astrophysicist, even though I'm on a different path now, I guess I'm really drawn to this practice because it is so, scientific. Like science means to know, and this is a way to know self, know creation, know the divine, by knowing each one of the rays of creation, the different netters. Okay. Dua Nut, Dua Geb, Dua Shu. 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 A tap. Yeah, so when we're chanting, like if you're just doing a quick session, or if you're like me, you have so many songs to offer in your devotion. I would love to just be able to spend 1 hour on each chant. Can you imagine? I had time to do that. Someday, I get my boat, I'll just be chanting for hours, and my boat will just be sailing. All right. Next, we have the traditional from Temple of Satan Neter. Dua Asar, Dua Aset. Dua Heru. It's not Dua, it's Om. That one is Om. I'm going to do it the traditional way. Can let me do this? No? Okay, it's not going to let me do that right now. Okay, I'll change it later. It's going to be That's traditional. I was going to try. Okay. I'm just going to do it quickly. I'll do it now. Yeah, so at the temple we learn you chant, and this is also in traditional indigenous Lakota tradition, I'll say. You chant 4 times, 4 directions, 4 elements, 4 aspects of being, and then also say by, and the Lakota tradition, you also do above and below and within. So it should be 7. But I'm doing 4 because I'm doing 4. Okay, so it's gonna let me make that quick change. I think I posted a TikTok about the origin of Om. So if you look for it, you should be able to find it, because I don't have it with me. Make this correction. I'm so grateful that the idea came to me to make a post for these, as opposed to, because I would just have my notes, I'll type them up, and then I would try to email them to the people who were going to be on the concert, because that's when I was trying to charge money, and they never got it. And then I was trying all these crazy things. And then one day I was like, what if I just make a blog post, and then I can put the replay on the blog post, and then everything's there, and then I can be organized. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. Okay, update. Okay, we've got 2 more. This next one is for Set. Uja. Yes, the boat. The gods and goddesses have a boat. Everyone has a boat. You have a boat. It's a spiritual boat. And we're on our boat sailing through the ocean of consciousness across the waters of creation. And we are on our way to our destination, which is when our body dies. And we want to be enlightened before our body dies, so that when our body dies, we don't have to come back. We'll remember our consciousness. We'll remember all the lessons. You're going to remember this section with Arita Chia. And you're going to remember some of these chants, because they want you to know the chants so that at the time of death, you can start chanting them and start building up your life in eternity. That's the real purpose of this practice, is enlightenment. And we have a boat. So my mom told me that my boat is fueled by my music. And that's when I was like, then I need to get my music together, because right now it's all over the place and I don't want that. So yes, when you're meditating, you visualize yourself in a boat, because you're on your journey to enlightenment, the journey of enlightenment, the oceans of consciousness, the waters of creation. It's like, wow. Oh, this is kind of funny. All right, but did you all see the Logo movie, the first one? I went with my daughter, and I was blown away by the scene when, I can't remember the name, he had built a double-decker couch, and everybody thought he was crazy. But he created, because they were in this ocean of consciousness, and they were challenging him to see if he was the master. And he manifested this couch. They thought he was a fool, thought he was crazy. And later on, that couch saved their life. I saw that, what came to my mind was the moon consciousness, or the noon, the primeval oceans, and then we create these things from the noon. So, that character, his boat across the ocean of vision was a double-decker sofa that saved the lives of everybody. And isn't that powerful? I think it's powerful. Because on the boats, these sacred boats, there are cords hanging from the boats so that people who are still striving for enlightenment, but they haven't quite gotten there yet, they can grab onto one of these cords and, be pulled along by your boat. I just love this tradition. Okay. So, yeah, I don't have a heart consciousness. So this one is for Set. Set gets a bad name because people think he's the devil, but Set is egoism. And in this practice, you learn how to sublimate your egoism and use your egoism to protect you and, fight for you. When chaos comes, you let your egoism fight. When worldliness comes up and you're tempted, you let your ego deal with that. Because your ego is trained to not let any BS come into your reality. Because you want Heru to be driving your boat. You are Heru. So you want to be driving the boat, not your ego. So this line is from the Four Great Truths that I offered earlier. It's the line, say Waju, say Nafu, and Sayu Set. Devotion to the divine leads to freedom from the fetters of Set. Fetters of Set are, like we talked about at the beginning, ignorance, jealousy, envy, gluttony, hypocrisy, anger, fear, doubt, insecurity, traumatized, indecisive, all those things are fetters of Set. And they're symbolized by bandages over the mouth of consciousness. And, practice of the study disciplines allows these bandages to be removed, allows you to be free. And then also it's kind of a play. Uwashu is devotion to the divine, right? But Uwa is one, and Shu is air, or breath. Devotion to the divine is, and then Nafu is symbolized, which is freedom, is symbolized by a sail on a sailboat, because we're talking about sailing, and it means freedom to breathe. So, I think it was the breath concert I did which I'm doing again on April 20th. Anyway, this chant came to me from that one. Say Washu, say Nafu, and Sayu said. 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 Say Nafu, say Washu, and Sayu said. Say Washu, say Nafu, and Sayu said. I was about to go there. I was going to take off of all these musical variations and kind of say Washu, say Nafu, say Nafu, say Washu, say Nafu. It's beautiful. Yeah, that song came to me on the spot during that presentation in last April, or not last April. It's April 2020 or... Yeah, 2020 when COVID started. Yeah, because it's all about the breath. So the concert of the breath, because back then Corona was all about the lungs and the breathing, and everybody was like, I can't breathe. So I did a whole, one of my sessions was all about the breath. Okay, so here's the last checkout for the day. Oh man, I forgot to wear my mask. I was supposed to put this one on. I can't believe it. I should have reminded me. Okay, this is the one. Oh, let's see. This is the one. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. I was supposed to put it on for that last song. So I'm going to put it on. Okay, I got it now. So here is Set as the hippopotamus when he and Set and Asar or Heru are trying to stab the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus represents Set. It's Set's egoism and hers. And then this is Set after he's been sublimated. So let me just do that one more time. Say what you say now, fool, inside you said. Say what you say now, fool, inside you said. Let me make sure that you can see the whole mass and sit back here. Say what you say now, fool, inside you said. Say what you say now, fool, inside you said. Yeah, that person challenged me, so I'm gonna have to have some props. I can't just come up here and sing and talk about the wisdom teaching. I need some props. Okay, so the final heck hour today, I might get in before 2:30. I don't know. I mean 2:30, 9:30 is for Nebuchadnezzar, and it has some of the other goddesses. This is one of my favorite. I guess all of them are one of my favorite heck hour. But this one's one of my favorites, and it's in English, so I don't have to translate it. And I'm using the system to eliminate chaos. Let's see. I use the same. I guess that's the upbeat vibration. I'm always playing the same rhythm on it. It's a little slower. Order my order space, order my mind, order my mind, order my day, order my day, order my life, order my life, order my space. Do I have it hand? Order in my space. Do I set up? Order in my mind. Do I segment? Order in my day. Do I mind? Order in my life. Order in my space. Order in my mind. Order my mind. Order my day. Order my day. Order my life. Order my life. Order my space. Look who never had. Order in my space. Look who had some. Order in my mind. Look who segment. Order in my day. Look who my order in my life. Let's have the first. So a brief explanation of that Hekau Nebuchadnezzar is the lady of the house. She's the goddess of physicality and mortality, sister of Aset, mother of Anpu, auntie of Heru, mistress of Asar. Sesheta is a cosmic scribe. She writes down everything for you. She's like the personal scribe of the cosmic mind. And so I go to her when I'm trying to organize my business or my paperwork, when I'm doing my astronomy, praying for my rehab for my property, because she's the architect, goddess of architecture, engineering, sacred geometry, mathematics, astrology, astronomy, writing, record keeping, accounting, bookkeeping, filing, time reckoner. She keeps track of all the Huti cells. So and when my mind is in order, it's because Sasheta has organized all of my thoughts. And that is what allows me to connect to my heart and be one and at peace. Sekhmet is the goddess of fire. She's the goddess of flame. She's sister of Tefnut and Bastet. She's the goddess of the fire, the flame, the healer, master, warrior, the alter existence of Heteru, because Heteru was sent to Earth and took on the form of Sekhmet and then gained her divinity in turn. That's not to say that Sekhmet is ignorance of the divine. In that myth, she took on that form. She has her own teachings, her own school, her own followers. She's up there with Ma'at and Aset and other traditions. But in the Assyrian tradition, she took on that role. So Sekhmet is the one that helps me be disciplined. When I set a schedule for myself, I said I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. Sekhmet helps me cut out all the distractions. And nope, I'm going to do this. So I have this knife that I just like cut through the chaos. I'm just like, no, I'm going to prepare for my concert. I'm going to send out all those text messages, even though I'm asleep, and I'm only going to get 2 hours of sleep in order to get up in time for this presentation. That's what I call it, Sekhmet. And then, of course, Ma'at is order. When we see order in our lives, we can see order in creation in the universe. And that chant right there helps me keep my life in order. I hope it helps you. It will be on a few CDs. Now I think you can find versions of it all over the place, but not like on Spotify or anything like that yet. All right, so that's my presentation for today. I went over, but I really enjoyed it. I experienced the joy of the Pauti. I hope you did too. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. The next event at Ancient African Adorations is April 19th. So we will not be back together in this capacity till April 19th for the festivity of Ra and his Shemsu followers. I'll definitely bring out We Are the Children of Ra for that. And then April 21st, the Feast of Goddess Uwajit. I don't know anything about her. I mean, I know a little bit. I don't know any chants or any wisdom teaching or anything. The next Cosmic Chimes and Chanting session. Where's my schedule? You think it would be right on top of my files. Oh, man. And this is all music. You know. Okay, I can find it here. I can't find it there. Okay. That is so bizarre. It was right on top. So I'm going to get it out. This is 1 more minute. So I can find everything but that. Yeah. Yay! Oh my goodness. That was great luck. Okay. So the next Cosmic Chimes and Chanting, which is the astrology reading, we had the moon on April 1st yesterday. You can watch the replay. I highly suggest it. It was very powerful. Dealing with releasing emotions for wellness. Then we have the first quarter moon on April 9th at 1:47 a.m. Central. So we'll probably start at about 1:30 a.m. Central Time. That's when we deal with the self-care. I'll be using the tuning forks and the solfeggio frequencies. And when I put the tuning forks on myself, you will benefit. Then the full moon is April 16th at 1:55 a.m. The full moon. So we'll be doing a transmission, Cosmic Chimes and Chanting for that. Third quarter moon, April 23rd at 6:56 a.m. Central Time. So we'll probably start at around 6:30. And then on the third quarter moons, I've been presenting what I call global grieving, because Pluto is retrograde right now. And so lots of institutions and ways of doing things are crumbling and falling apart. And so this is so we can release our attachment to the old ways of doing things, even because they never served us and they're not serving us, but we're still attached to them. And so the third quarter moons will be for this global grieving, to release all this stuff, like wailing, I don't know. I've never done it before. I don't know what it's going to be. And then we have another new moon on April 30th at 3:28 p.m. So in the Western system, they would say this is a black moon because there's 2 new moons in 1 month. However, we know that there's actually 13 zodiac signs along the ecliptic, 13 moons. So there should be 13 suns. That's another story. But anyway, we have a second new moon on April 30th at 3:28 p.m. And then May Day, May 1st, we have the Spider Dance Medicine Wheel Sunrise Ceremony, honoring the indigenous people of the 4 directions coming together, embracing our Blackness. And we write about Blackness in the new moon presentation. So please check it out. And, we honor the wisdom teachings of the 4 directions through sound. And it's very powerful. And so that's what we have coming up for you. And again, calendar reviews. Like I said, I think the reason my life is really coming into order, like I talked about, is because I'm following 2 Kemetic calendars. The Sirius calendar put out by the earthcenter.com, or is it .org? Why isn't it just the earthcenter.com? Why do they have all these? I'm just kidding. Come on, you got to have your website on there. Earthcenter.org. Okay. Earthcenter.org. And it's a Sirius sidereal calendar with 3 10-day strengths. I don't say weeks. And then, this is good. And then on the 13th month, they have the Newt, the month of Newt, when she gives birth to the Pauti. They don't celebrate the birth of Tef Newt or Gab. These are just the children of Newt. But they have that week, that strength. That's the earthcenter.org. And then we're following okay, somebody's playing a game with me here. We're following the Kemetic. Oh, what's it doing over there? We're following the solar Kemetic calendar put out by Temple of Amun. You can get it at templeofamun.com. And it has the Neterian holy days, the lunar holidays. It doesn't have the 1st and 3rd quarter. And it has the solstices, equinoxes, and some other, national holidays. Wow. August is going to be a big month of celebrations. August and July. Wow. Because we have the observance of the birth of the Neterians. This one is in alignment with Sirius rising. The Sirius calendar, they have the birth of the Pauti in September. I have to find out what that's about. I guess I don't know. That's what I don't know. And then in August, I don't know what's going on in August. Just look at this. That's going to be intense. My birthday month. Okay. So, my name is Arit Netresmariumati, aka Tachia Ahmed. You can find more about my music at tachia.com. You can find the material for this session at tachia.com/joy-of-pauti. If you want to know more about my sound healing, astrology, wellness practices and services, go to lightbeingwellness.com. Yeah. Oh, if you want to know about the wisdom teachings from this perspective, go to EgyptianYoga.com. We talked a lot about that already. EgyptianYoga.com for Seva Man's wonderful work, research, programs. Wow. Super busy. All I can say. Super, super never work. They're doing never work there. And if you'd like to make a donation to Asmataji Temple, $ Amet El Mat. The link is in my link tree bio. And on May 17th will be the next reggae music experience featuring original reggae, native reggae, celestial reggae, cosmic reggae, world music, Kemetic dub, Kemetic rock, and Kemetic reggae. Where else can you have that experience? Honestly, where else? In 2022, all in one place in a matter of 3 hours for a very reasonable donation. This event is going to be amazing because it's going to be outdoors on a beautiful outdoor stage. And so it'll be live and live stream. If you want to watch the replay from Spring Equinox 2022, go to tachia.com/springequinox-2022 and you can make a small donation of your choice, name your price. Minimum is $1, and you can access the replay on YouTube. So that's all I have to say. That was a lot. And let me check in more questions. Thank you. You have an amazing day too. I feel great. I'm ready for the day. I really enjoyed the session. I hope you did too. Thank you for being here, Lola. I'm really appreciative of you, sticking in there. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi connection, and I don't know why they ended my screen share. I will work on it, and I will see you back here on April 19th for the festivity of Ra and his Shimsu followers. That's us. You and I were followers of Ra. Or you can catch me for the celestial events on April 9th, 16th, 23rd, 30th, or 1st. And that's all for now. Do a hotel.